Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jackie and today I am here to do a recommended reads video. So today I'm going to be recommending some books to you guys that are perfect for the fall time. Fall time is finally upon us. It is my favorite season of the year, and typically in fall I tend to read a lot of different genres. It's mostly fantasy, but sometimes I'll reach for a thriller or a contemporary or paranormal. It just depends on the mood I am, but it's mostly high fantasy and paranormal for the most part. But for this recommended reads video, I actually have a good mix of genres. I have a couple thrillers, I have a contemporary, and I have two paranormal. So without further ado, I'm just going to jump right in and get started. So the first book I have to suggest isn't necessarily a book, it's just an entire author in general, and that is anything written by Stephen King. This is It, which I think is perfect for like around Halloween because it does revolve around a clown. But the one I would recommend to you the most if you're beginning to read Stephen King's works would actually be Mr. Mercedes, which is my favorite book of this year so far. I read this in February. It was my first introduction to Stephen King and I loved it. It is obviously a big hunker of a book about a killer clown. Mr. Mercedes is about a serial killer, and both of these books, I haven't read it yet, I'll be completely honest, but I have loved every single book I've read by Stephen King this far. So I think any of his works are a good place to start for looking for books to read in the fall, and I just can't recommend his books enough in general. The second book on this list is a contemporary book, and it is a darker contemporary, since that's when I read a contemporary in fall, it usually tends to be on the darker side, and this really should come as no surprise to anybody. The contemporary I'm going to talk about is Grey by Pete Wentz, which is my favorite book of all time. I know I mentioned it in like almost every video I film, but this is perfect for fall into winter. It is a adult contemporary book. It follows a character who is a rock star, and he is, kind of telling his story about what's going on in his mind while he's away from family and friends on tour as his band starts to get bigger. And this does deal with very heavy topics. It deals with depression, suicide, drug abuse. So just be warned going into this book, if you are deciding to read it, about those trigger warnings. But overall, it's a fantastic book. I have an entire video I did back in July about my story with this book, so if you guys are interested in checking it out, I will link it in the cards. But again, I can't recommend it enough. The next book I have to recommend is Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. This is the first book in I believe it's going to be a 4-book series, and there's 3 out currently. This is YA historical fiction with a hint of thriller aspects to it, and it follows our main character Audrey Rose, who is studying to be a mortician under her uncle, and she's involved somehow in the Jack the Ripper killings, and she is pretty much investigating with her partner Thomas into who Jack the Ripper actually is. I love this book. I read it earlier this year. I think I read this in March, during March Mystery Madness. And yeah, fantastic. Kind of dark. You kind of have to have a strong stomach to read this because it does go into graphic detail about the killings that Jack the Ripper did in Victorian London when those were happening. But it's good. I haven't read the sequels yet, but I've been meaning to, and yeah, really good one. And the last 2 books I have to recommend are just kind of old favorites, and the first one of those is Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. This is a book I read probably close to 10 years ago now, and every time fall rolls around, somehow my mind just wanders back to my Twilight fangirl days, back when I was like 10, 11 years old and reading this series for the first time. And it is a series I would like to reread eventually. But, vampires, werewolves, fall, Halloween, it's a perfect match. The last book that I have to recommend for this video is Blue is for Nightmares by Larry Farrah Stoltz. This is one I read it when I was in middle school, and it is a YA paranormal, and it follows our main character Stacy, who is in high school. She's in her junior year at a boarding school, and she's living in Salem, Massachusetts, and her mind just kind of goes into this spiral of premonition type things about her best friend going missing and being kidnapped and killed, and it kind of follows Stacy as she's trying to prevent these things from happening, and it's really interesting. It is a 5-book series, and they're all not too long, and I love them. It's kind of one of my guilty pleasure reads. It's not the most well-written series of all time, but I fell in love with it when I read it the first time, and I cannot recommend it enough. So that is everything I would have for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to give a thumbs up and subscribe if you have not already. I post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Sure, let me know in the comments down below some recommended reads for fall that you guys might have, as I would love to know. And as always, all my social media links are linked down below for you guys if you have to follow me on any of those. And with being said, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you soon for another video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye!